So in today's video, I'm going to be focusing on the Oden. I'm going to be giving you a best class setup. This is going to be good for multiple different modes. Obviously, I'm going to be using it within ground war, but the class setup I've designed is going to be very good for 6v6 as well as 10v10. Also, some of the gameplay is going to be a little bit of a part 2 to yesterday's video where I was talking about how the spawns work within ground war, and we'll be utilizing that information to go on a 30+ kill streak and get the tactical nuke. And when it comes to the Oden, it's one of those weapons that is a high skill weapon, meaning that it's a little bit trickier to use for most players. I would say average to below average players will struggle with this specific weapon because it has below average movement, below average handling, and above average recoil, but is making up for that with a high damage profile that gives you a sub 200 millisecond time to kill. So the class setup I'm liking on the Oden is the monolithic suppressor, the commando foregrip or the merc foregrip, the 30 round mag, the stipple grip tape, as well as the GI mini reflex. Since I know a lot of people only click on the videos for class setups and they don't really care about gameplay breakdowns, if you could do me a favor before you click away, go ahead and click that like button and go ahead and subscribe with notifications on if you're looking to find your way back to the channel. So now the nuke streak will actually begin, and right here what I'm trying to do is go ahead and get the third flag. In this particular case, we already have A, we have B, and now I'm going to go ahead and push up to try and gain C so I can move into a power position to take advantage of the D spawn that the enemy team already has. As I come through, I'm clearing it out, getting a few different kills here, throwing my C4, getting even more kills, and I'm already starting to rack up a few kills. But what I'm trying to do is wait for my teammates to push up. You can see that there's a tank outside of the map that just got destroyed by a cruise missile, and now we're just kind of positioning myself before I can actually move safely to the next spot. You can see that this weapon is fairly accurate. It's a little bit hard to control at points, but if you land those shots, it can be very rewarding because you are able to kill so fast. One little thing to mention is, even though it's not included in this gameplay, stopping power is very good with the Oden. It'll make it so you get 2 shots even at the further ranges, and it can even become a 1-shot kill at certain ranges depending on where you hit the target. So like I mentioned in the previous ground war video about the spawns, is you kind of gotta wait these out for a little bit so you know that the areas are clear, because everyone is inevitably spawning over on the east side. You see the enemies are starting to take D, so I jump into a vehicle so I can relocate, because once they go ahead and capture D, there's going to be a little bubble of spawns where they're spawning in, and I should be able to rack up a ton of kills. I'm able to run over this guy. He didn't hear the vehicle. I jump out, end up taking out his teammate, run into the building, get another kill here, and you can see how many of them are on the mini-map. So I have to approach this cautiously because they're going to be chasing after me. After you rack up a couple kills in a specific area, people almost always come back for those revenge kills. So I peek out, get a few more kills, and I'm starting to already rack up kills. Personally, I'm not the type that I go for nukes, and the main reason for that is because inevitably you're going to end up starting to play more passive because you want to actually get the nuke. Versus if I actually wanted to just get high kills, I would call in my streaks, die, and then repeat the process. Right here, just kind of a little bit bad timing. I wish I could have jumped out a little bit sooner, taking the guy out. I'm going to go ahead and resupply my ammo. I wish I would have had my C4. That's kind of what I was looking to do right there when I actually pulled up the little trigger mechanism. So one thing that I think a lot of people get confused with ground war is that pretty much when I'm in this position, there's no reason for me to leave this specific area because nothing has changed as far as the flags. You see a guy's out here, easy little kill. I go ahead and close the door and I can reposition. This window that's right next to me cannot be jumped into unless they have a barricade right there. So I know I'm pretty clear right there unless someone just decides to double throw in nades or throw in C4. What I'm listening for is some audio cues. You can see that my teammates are jumping on D. Most of the enemies should be coming from the D and the east side until my teammates capture D. And now pretty much most of the enemies should be coming from the east side, which is kind of unfortunate. Looks like there is another guy there because he spawned on top of his teammate. You got to be aware of all these little things, and now they're going to be rushing out, and this is a strong power position. I have no other choice but to kind of sit in this building until something else happens. And right here, I'm able to take out that guy, push up. I can hear more audio cues. The guy's running down the stairs. And then I'm able to go ahead and reposition. And the fact that the enemy team ended up grabbing A is kind of going to lead to a domino effect that kind of ruins my current position. And normally if I wasn't going on such a long streak, I'd probably run across to the next building, try and get another kill. So it really all depends. I felt like this nuke was already coming to me. I had a lot of time left on the clock. So if I played passive, I'm more than likely going to get a nuke as long as I don't do anything reckless, or I don't end up getting antied by a tank or some kind of random sniper. that's at a distance I can't even see. And in some cases, people are going to call this camping, even though I haven't really stood in one spot for an extended period of time. I've been rotating around, using the information of my teammates, the mini-map, what the enemy teams are doing with the flags. I've been kind of combining all that information. That's why I like Ground War. One of the reasons, one is that there's not really heavy skill-based matchmaking, so it actually feels like a normal Call of Duty lobby. And another thing I really like about Ground War is its forced crossplay. So there's mouse, keyboard, PC, console, all thrown together. So it's all mixed in there. And then on top of that, I get to actually use my brain to kind of figure out how I want to position myself so I can maximize those kills and minimize those deaths. Right now, you can see there's a tank outside the building, and I really want to check to see what that tank is, because if it's an APC, you know that people are going to be jumping out of the vehicle. That's why I repositioned myself, because I knew the tank was coming by. I figured people were going to be jumping out of that vehicle, so I kind of repositioned myself. I know this is kind of scummy to mount up and position myself right here, but at the end of the day, that was the smart play to make, considering that tank was moving through and people were going to be jumping out of that vehicle. Or at least there was a high likelihood of people spawning on that vehicle. I was able to land a shot there, but since my teammate spawned directly in front of me, I wasn't able to finish off that kill. So my teammate's going and chasing him down. Looks like he got the kill. Looks like my teammate died down below, and that's why I'm going to continue pre-aiming. Obviously, this is a little bit more campy, but when you're only a couple kills off the nuke, this is how you're going to almost have to play, because these spawns did not cooperate. My teammates started losing all these various objectives, and it didn't really cooperate with what I was trying to do and where I was positioned. A lot of things got out of hand, and 9 times out of 10, I probably would have already died at this point, so I wouldn't have been really focused on this streak. So what I would have been doing is babysitting the flags, making sure that my teammates were controlling specific objectives so I could sit in particular power positions. I am able to rack up a couple more kills here, so I'm only 2 off that tactical nuke. But what you're going to see is if you're paying attention to the flags, they get really out of hand. We pretty much lose everything, and then we recapture the D flag, which is the worst case scenario from where I'm positioned. Obviously, if I wasn't on a streak, I would just relocate to one of these other locations, capture one of the flags. But for how close I am and how much time is left on the clock, I pretty much have to play passive and be very patient and try not to make a mistake. What I'm doing is just kind of continually waiting, seeing what's going to happen, reading the mini map. We start to get DEFCON, and you can see that the flag that my team ends up grabbing is the D flag, and they're kind of focused on E flag, which are the flags that they should not be worried about at all. Like I mentioned in the other Ground War video, they should be focused on A, B, and C based off of where the spawn location is. So right now we kind of have a split spawn. I was able to clean up another kill there. Now I'm on a 29, not knowing where people are. You got some teammates over here. I can't really peek E because there's a lot of people that'll just sit on that roof and snipe. I can go ahead and peek it really quick, but I don't spend a lot of time looking that way just because it's not a very smart move unless you have a sniper rifle of your own. Right here I am trying to peek into C, see if I can pick anyone off. It is a little bit of a hard shot with the Oden because the recoil, and at that range you're pretty much not getting any kind of aim assist. So pretty much all I got to do is continue to wait, position myself smartly. If the spawns didn't get out of whack and we were still holding A, B, and C, I probably would have got the nuke like 2 minutes ago. And this is kind of sometimes the downside of playing Ground War, is that if your teammates aren't holding certain objectives appropriately, it can make it very difficult and you feel like you're chasing kills. It becomes even more evident when you're on a streak and you don't want to make that mistake of running across the map. Especially like I talked about before, when we were holding A, B, C, and D, we waited a little while before all the enemies kind of died off and had nowhere left to spawn except for their home flag, E, and on some of their teammates. And I know that there's a guy in this other building right here. I'm trying to see if he's going to end up pushing out and maybe try and capture D, which may have happened. It's kind of happened throughout the match. I even thinking, hey, you know what? If he pushes up, I'm even going to use my RPG. I was hoping they would jump out, maybe giving me an easy kill. I kind of go ahead and shoot the window. Unfortunately, no luck there. But what you're going to see is that my teammates are starting to capture B and C. That's going to influence the spawns a little bit to force the enemies to kind of either push from E or A. So in the next couple seconds, I should be expecting some kind of action, either people crossing from E to try and run to D, or running up to this building in some way. As they come out, I end up spotting a guy, land the shots, able to take him out and get the tactical nuke. So obviously that was a little bit on the slower end, but one thing I did want to point out is I usually leave my videos, especially when I talk about a long streak, uncut. And especially when it comes to Call of Duty on YouTube, you're not typically going to see that. If someone's camping in a corner for 1 minute or 2 minutes go by, they're just going to edit that completely out. They're going to go ahead and kind of show off looking like it was a lot faster than it actually was. In my opinion, that doesn't help you as a player. Obviously, it's going to come off as a little bit more entertaining or whatever the case is, but entertainment is secondary to me actually helping players improve. And I think by leaving it in there raw, you're kind of seeing my decision making and each individual thought process that I go through as I'm moving around the map, factoring in where my teammates are, the flags, the overall mini-map. So the main reason I'll typically focus on that aspect instead of just trying to make myself look good in the gameplay is because when you jump into a match yourself, you'll be able to replicate the things that I'm talking about. And you'll be able to kind of use my thought process and kind of factor it into your own so you can learn how to move around the map. Right now, I already know that we have the C flag, so this left side should be clear. Enemies are at B, but that's on the other side of this building. I know I can kind of push up at D. It just kind of depends on how I want to take the angle, whether I want to go through the building, peek a window, or I want to jump up top on the roof. There's a lot of decision making that you can make. Some decisions will be bad, some will be good, and some will be complete guesses. Right now, I'm taking out that tank, so we don't have to worry about that, because obviously if they capture C, then my flank is not covered, and then I'm going to have to worry about getting shot from my back as I jump up on top of here. Right now, I have very little risk of actually getting shot while on top of this building, unless someone just happens to be in a random spot, but for the most part, that's all been cleared out since my teammates have been at C for such a long time. Also, one thing to consider at this point, I already have the tactical nuke in my back pocket, so regardless of how close this match ends up coming out to be, or how far we are behind, I will just be able to call that in and win the match. I do see a guy cut across this way. I kind of jump out, aim it, snap on, able to destroy him. So obviously you can see how the behaviors change when I'm actually caring about keeping the streak alive and just kind of moving around the map using my best guesses. Right now we're kind of in that situation where we're a little bit earlier in the match where we had A, B, C, and D, and then E is going to be heavily contested with enemies. As I jump out, I don't even see this guy right here. He ends up melting me, and then as soon as I spawn in, I call that tactical nuke in. I end up finishing the match 77-7, so not a bad match at all. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. These are the types of videos I do enjoy making, where I kind of take you through my entire thought process, include a best class setup, and give you some strategies for you to improve as a Call of Duty player while playing Modern Warfare. And if you made it to this point of the video, please do me a favor hitting that like button. If you're brand new to the channel or just haven't yet subscribed, quit playing around, hit the red subscribe button, put notifications on to be able to find your way back to the channel. Do appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.